Ever walked into a room and you can just feel it, that green-eyed monster lurking behind a carefully built tower of blocks, ready to topple at the slightest nudge?
Oh, absolutely. And let's be real, dealing with childhood jealousy, it's like navigating a minefield sometimes.
Seriously. So today we're doing a deep dive into this universal parenting challenge. We've got a ton of fascinating research to unpack with some surprisingly simple tips to help kids, and maybe even us adults, handle those jealous twinges a little better.
What really struck me going through all this research was how much emphasis is placed on validating a child's emotions, like right from the very beginning.
So instead of that knee-jerk, oh, don't be silly, you don't really feel that way kind of thing.
Exactly. It's more about meeting them where they are, right? Hey, I see you. You're feeling jealous right now. Tell me more about it.
That makes a lot of sense, makes them feel heard.
Exactly. And that feeling of being understood, that's huge for kids, especially when they're grappling with these big, sometimes messy emotions.
Totally. Okay, so we've acknowledged those jealous feelings. What's next? I know one source really honed in on the importance of teaching empathy.
Yes. Empathy is so powerful because it helps kids step outside their own experience, right?
Hmm.
It's about helping them see that other people have feelings too.
Easier said than done, though, when you've got a kid in the throes of it's not fair. How do we actually teach them to be empathetic?
I think stories can be such amazing tools for this. Reading about characters who experience jealousy, talking about how those characters might be feeling and why.
Oh, that's interesting. It's like they can relate to the character, but it's a safe space to explore those feelings.
Absolutely. And it opens up all these opportunities for discussion and understanding.
It reminds me of this time my nephew, he must have been like 4. He was so jealous because his friend got this cool new bike. And we read this book. It was all about a little bear who felt jealous and just talking about how that bear might have been feeling. You could see the light bulb going off for my nephew.
It's those little aha moments, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of shifting perspectives, another big theme in the research was all about focusing on a child's individual strengths and passions.
So instead of say, why can't you be more like your brother who's a star soccer player? It's more like, hey, you're amazing at building with Legos. Let's nurture that.
Exactly. When we encourage kids to embrace what makes them unique, it helps them build this strong sense of self. And when they feel good about themselves, they're less likely to get caught up in that comparison game.
Which, let's be honest, is often at the root of jealousy, right? Those comparisons. And it's not just a kid thing. I mean, I know I still struggle with it as an adult.
A 100%.
Mm.
But the research suggests that when we, as parents and caregivers, make a conscious effort to shift away from comparing and instead focus on celebrating each child's individual progress.
It creates this more positive, encouraging environment.
Exactly. And it fosters a love of learning, a sense of accomplishment, so many good things.
Now, before we wrap things up, we got to talk about the whole leading by example thing, which honestly feels like a whole deep dive in itself.
Right. Because ultimately, kids are always watching us.
Yeah.
If we're constantly comparing ourselves to others or being negative, guess what? They pick up on that.
Even when we think they're not paying attention, those little sponges are soaking it all up.
So modeling those healthy coping mechanisms, that's key.
Being open about our own feelings, showing them how to reframe those negative thoughts.
Exactly. We're not striving for perfection here, but every little bit helps.
So to recap, when it comes to taming that green-eyed monster, validate those feelings, teach empathy, focus on their strengths, ditch those comparisons, and of course, lead by example. Simple, but definitely not always easy.
And as you navigate those inevitable jealous moments, I'm going to leave you with this question to ponder. How can understanding your own experiences with jealousy, both as a child and now as an adult, help you better support the kids in your life? Something to think about.
That is a great question. Definitely going to be reflecting on that one. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today. And to everyone listening, until next time, keep those conversations going.